through our journey. May I request Dr. Khosla, Atul sir, Ashish sir to please lead our guests to the lamp, and we will have the Saraswati Vanna. Please, aye. Manish, Mr. Nanda, a few of our students, please join in. आइए
करो शारदा सरस्वती वंदना करो शारदा सरस्वती मात पिता तुम अखिल जगत की मात पिता तुम अखिल जगत की वंदना करो शारदा सरस्वती वंदना करो शारदा सरस्वती हम सब बालक शरण शरण आज बाबा सब जगह मात पिता तुम अखिल जगत की मात पिता तुम अखिल जगत की वंदना करो शारदा सरस्वती वंदना करो वंदना करो वंदना करो शारदा सरस्वती.
Thank you, and a big thank you to our Ragrang Club, Anushka and Shaurya, blessed with such beautiful voices. Thank you, girls. So the reason of us being here today is because it's a very exciting day as we begin the Shulini HRDN chapter here. The driving belief in HRDN is that every human being has the potential to do remarkable things, and they have the ability to tap the potential. We have a very similar belief in Shulini, and every day the students and the faculty at Shulini wake up with this feeling that they are second to next, second to no one. Just last week, I don't know how many of you are aware, our student Niharika got admission into Oxford for her post-graduation. Our student Akarsh, who has a variety of patents under his belt, has a deferred admission into Indian School of Business for his post-graduation. Just yesterday, two of our students cracked the highly competitive patent agent exam, and believe me, it's not something anybody and everybody can do. It is this firm belief in the excellence of our students and our faculty that has put Shulini not just on the globe, not just on the national, but also on the global platform. Today, we are indeed delighted to have our guests with us. May I request Dr. Khosla to please come up on stage along with our Vice Chancellor, Professor Atul Khosla, Mr. Ashish Khosla, to come and felicitate our guests. Please, sirs. Please put your hands together to welcome Mr. Prem Singh, National President, NHRDN, and President, Group HR, JK Organization. With an amazingly illustrious career behind him and many years to go, winning several awards and accolades for his leadership, Mr. Singh continues to be extremely modest with his feet firmly on the ground. This is his second visit. Last year, when he came, the weather was against it. This time the farmers protest was there, but he has still come. Thank you so much, sir. For his first visit today, we also have with us Mr. Dhananjay Singh. We have Mr. Agnivesh Thakur, who is the National Treasurer of NHRDN and Director, Human Capital Consulting at Deloitte. Mr. Thakur is an accomplished HR technology consulting leader with a relentless passion for innovation. An avid reader, his passion is teaching, and he is often found sharing his perspective with budding talent. He's on the board of many B schools. Once again, thank you and welcome, Mr. Agnivesh. We have with us Mr. Dhananjay Singh, Director General at HRDN. Mr. Singh is responsible for strategic planning, change management, board collaboration, leadership development, and the new initiatives of NHRD network. And we have with us Mr. Nalin Ranjan Srivastav, Deputy Director, NHRDN. With 22 plus years of experience, Nalin has a proven ability to build new business relationships and the experience in developing business opportunities with existing client bases. Once again, welcome to Shulini, everyone, and thank you for being with us today. Since this event is also being streamed online, thank you, everybody. I take this opportunity that since this event is being streamed online, I welcome all the NHRDN board members, senior leaders, and chapters across the nation who have joined us online. And I also welcome our Shulini industry partners who would be watching this program remotely. I now have the privilege and request to welcome our Chancellor, Dr. Khosla, to please come up on stage and give his blessings to this new chapter that is seeing its beginning today. Let me tell our guests that it happens to be Sir's 84th birthday tomorrow, which we Yes, I think Sir deserves a standing ovation. Thank you, everyone. Needless to say, that Sir is here to inspire us each and every single day. And no wonder that his birthday is celebrated as Prerna Divas all across the university. Over to you, Sir.
Thank you very much. Wishing in advance my happy birthday. Anyway, we were all in the university, an institution of higher learning is there for three basic modes. First is the human resource development, or which we call as the teaching traditionally, that we train the students so that afterwards they find the appropriate positions when in job, as a teacher, as a scientist, as a manager, or whatever opportunity, or even as an entrepreneur, whatever they feel like entering into the career. And the others activities are also very important. In Shulli University, when I was aged 64, I was in the government as advisor when the 6 months were left for my tenure to end. I started thinking, what should I do? What should be my future plan? I never thought that I will sit idle at home. And I strongly believe once your desire is strong, that the way out also comes. So thinking that way, It's a long story. I entered into private education, and today you are all here. It's a part of the things that way back in 2009, this university was granted. From the very first day, we were very clear. It has not to be an ordinary institution. Surely cannot be just a routine university. All the three wings, teaching, research, and development or the industrial participation, everything has to be combined. Whatever, when the graduate passes out, he should be the best what we can do at our level. So we succeeded in that in the field of research. I was surprised in way back in 2022 when all of a sudden one of my colleagues told me, sir, we are second best in world university ranking times higher education, which is of course a search-based research ranking. And then in other rankings also we started figuring. So that gives satisfaction, and we have to further go and do much more what we have done so far. So this type of a program that we are holding today, National Human Resource Development Network, their chapter in this university, that will give us further boost to ensure that we can participate in programs in partnership with the organizations like NHRDN so that we can serve the society, serve the nation, serve the country's industry, because education should not end only in teaching and research. The third component, its industrial application, is very important. Though in yesteryears, because of our British inheritance of higher education, all you may be knowing that India had very glorious past of universities, but somehow, because of certain reasons, much was lost. There was a one gentleman, Bakhtiar Ali Khilji, and he could never think that India will be so rich in higher education. He burned then Nalanda and sister of many universities. So the Britishers in 1857 started the higher education with three universities, Bombay, Calcutta, and Madras. And today we have 1,100 universities. So why I'm talking it, we have to revive our age-old heritage to dominate in higher education. And everyone who's sitting here, that has to be a part of that. And also our partnership with National Human Resource Development Network will be a step in that direction. I wish this relationship will grow and we will be able to contribute towards the same stature, attain the same stature of the Indian higher education which we had in Takshila, Nalanda, or other old university. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your blessings. I now invite our Vice Chancellor, Professor Atul Khosla, to please come on stage and set the context. Atul sir brings the expertise of the corporate world, having held global positions of companies like McKinsey and Oliver Wyman in India. And it is his love for academics that has brought him here to Shulini University. A perfectionist to the core, he strives for excellence in everything small and big that he does or we do, and is always pushing us to be a better version of ourselves. Thank you, Atul sir, and over to you.
Thank you very much, Poonam, and welcome all of you. Such a beautiful day. Premji, welcome. Welcome back to Shulini. Agni, we met on a flight and I invited you. So many, many years later, surprisingly, Agni met me on a flight to London. And now you're back. You're at Shulini. Who thought this is serendipity? Dhananjay ji. But and Nalin, of course. I also have a very special guest, a dear friend from my business school, and many of you are MBA students. So, Sushil, you want to just stand and wave your hand? with us today. And of course, Arvind, Munish, Kaul, Poonam, all of you, Ashish, Dr. Khosla. It's always very difficult to speak to HR professionals. They're the ones who give you jobs. So who knows, I might need a job in the future. So excuse me if I make some comments you don't like. Actually, I'm sure whatever I speak, you like, Premji. So what is NHRDN and why should you be here? In a nutshell, wherever you go in life, you'll be interviewed by at least one HR person. So if you keep these four people happy, you'll get great jobs. Okay? Jokes apart, HR is extremely, extremely important for nation building. And I'm going to continue with the board meeting we just had with NHRDN moments back. And I'm going to leave a few thoughts for all of you. So let me do a small sort of a survey before that, a show of hands. So how many of you are MBA students sitting in this room? All of you are MBA students. How many of you are first year students sitting in this room? How many of you are second year students? So, okay. So divide between first year, second year. Second year likes the left side of the room. Okay, that's interesting. Anyway, how many of you think that you will be millionaires in the next 10 years? How many of you think and believe that you can be millionaires? Okay, pretty much lots. How many of you think that you can be billionaires sitting in this room? Oh, I see. All the backbenchers want to be billionaires, sir. So how many of you also, there might be some pessimists. How many of you believe that there are few jobs, there are no jobs in India? Oh, wow. There's not a single guy putting his hand up. So all of you believe in the India story. So I want to continue with the India story, and I want to continue why you are so precious and why this is such an important event for us, this HR Conclave and NHRDN being with us. So over the last few months, as I was telling the board, I've been working very closely with the Ministry of External Affairs, recently met with the Foreign Secretary, and we were talking about the Global South. And let me explain to some of you what the Global South is. The world consists of the Global West and the Global South. The Global West is all the Western countries, the rich countries, America, Europe, right? That's typically West, Russia. And the South consists of the poor countries of the world, Africa, India, South America, Australia, somewhere in between. They claim nowadays they are Global South, actually. So they sometimes become part of Global West, Premji, sometimes they become part of Global South. Depends on where the discussion is convenient to them. Anyway, so for years, and Ashish knows about it, when we were studying, and Dr. Khosla knows about it, the Global West funded education for the Global South. So they gave money. Dr. Khosla, for example, went to Oxford to study, which was funded by the British government to go to Oxford through a Commonwealth Fellowship. I went to IIT Kanpur, and IIT Kanpur was funded by Caltech and MIT and USAID. Ashish went to PEC, Punjab University, which also had deep roots with the West. So did you, Arvind. I went to JBIMS, and so did Sushil. We had deep roots with Stanford. So why was the West investing in the South? Because they wanted to influence the South. Because ultimately, through that talent, through that influence, they get deep economic benefits. So when you think about it, when we think about education and we think about the best education in the world, we think about the United States. Because over decades, it's been fed in our mind that the best place to work and the best place to study is the United States. So the United States gets the best talent, and as a result, it's the most economically developed country in the world. The world is changing, and there is something called South-South cooperation that's happening, where countries like India are saying, we will now try to influence other countries of the Global South. Why would India want to do that? Because, as Premji said, by 2047, India will be a Viksit nation, a developed nation. That's 25 years from now. or less than 25, 24 years from now, or 23 years from now. What does a developed nation mean? It means that all of you are rich, all of you, there is no one below poverty, all of us have electricity, power, water, sanitation, etc. And we all have healthy lives. I think that's in a nutshell what development means. But coming back to why this is important for this discussion is that we as a nation have to now start influencing the global south. Because if India has to achieve Vision 2047, we need to build enterprises across the world. Okay? Which means all of you have to start thinking about becoming geographic entrepreneurs. What is a geographic entrepreneur? Not someone who goes to America, but someone who's ready to go to Africa and plant your flag and become a billionaire there. So let me ask you a question. How many of you are ready to go to Rwanda and become a billionaire in Rwanda? Not a single person. And that's one person. And that's what we have to change. Because imagine, the Britishers were geographic entrepreneurs. They came to India, हम बोलते हैं वो तो ऐश करके गए. आप क्यों नहीं ऐश करना चाहते अफ्रीका में जाके? आप नहीं करना चाहते, आप तो अमेरिका जाना चाहते हो. तो अगर यूरोप के लोग, if the Britishers had not gone to America, which was also underdeveloped then, or had gone to Australia, which was nothing but a convict country, or had come to India, the country would not have become rich. That's my first message to all of you. And that's my request to NHRDN. Start thinking about building geographic entrepreneurs. Not a single person or one person in this room desires to go to Africa. Not that Africa is bad. Do you know Kigali, which is the capital of Rwanda, I'm told, has better infrastructure than Singapore. But आपको पता ही नहीं है. तो हमारा काम आपको बताना है that there are opportunities. That's the first thought I'd like to leave. The second thought is a discussion, like I was telling Premji, I had with the CEO of Niti Aayog 4 days back, 5 days back. And I interestingly learned that in the next 3 years, 25% of the global workforce will come from India. The next 25% will come from Africa, which means we have a simple option. You can either become or continue to live like slaves, which we have lived for 500 years, like Dr. Khosla says, or we can decide to step up and become leaders. And where will those leaders come from? They will come from you people sitting over here. You are the future leaders. By the way, I see some people coming from African countries here in this room. Even they didn't put their hand up to become a billionaire in Rwanda, which surprises me. Anyway, jokes apart, so the future lies with you. You have to step up to become leaders. Leaders means you have to become business leaders, technology leaders, geographic leaders like I spoke about, diplomats. You have to learn how to negotiate. You have to learn diplomacy, not just business. Because if you're going in Rwanda, you have to navigate the political system. You have to navigate the business system. You have to navigate the banking system. You have to understand the culture of the people you're working with. It's fundamentally different from just doing an Excel spreadsheet. And those are the type of skills that I think all of you need to build. My dear brother Ashish is building an online university, and his dream is to build 1 million business leaders in the next 5 years. And my request to NHRDN is to say that we have to start thinking about platforms like this, which are scalable, which are large, which can create those 1 million, 2 million, 5 million, 50 million leaders that we'll need over the next 20 years. Because if we don't, we'll all have to migrate to Virginia and do cotton farming like we did, becoming slaves. I don't know how many of you know, but that's what the United States did. They moved people from Africa to Virginia to grow cotton and tobacco. So we have two options. We can continue to be the clerk of the world, which India is becoming, or we can be the dominant country that we deserve to be. So my pitch to you as students is become geographic entrepreneurs. Do not hesitate going out and taking opportunities which are fundamentally different from being close at home. It is very easy being at home and being in your mom's pallu and earning some amount of money. You all are decent people. You all mix. You'll be comfortable being here. But if you really have that spirit of adventure, then first try by going to Chennai. Do you know the richest states in India are Telangana, Chennai, Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, and Tamil Nadu? Those are the richest. They are 3 times richer than UP and Bihar and twice as richer as most other parts of the country. How many of you want to or are ready to first become geographic entrepreneurs going to South India? And then from there taking a leap, probably going to China. And from there going to a leap and going to Africa, going to South America, going to Australia or other parts of the world. So rather go to Australia as a leader and build a business in Australia, then go to Australia now and become a taxi driver, which many of your friends are doing. And that's a fundamental question. Again, you have to answer, you have to question. So the National HRD Network is playing a great role. It's a collaboration of more than 17,000 HR professionals that pretty much covers the whole spectrum of the HR fraternity. But it's not just about becoming a specialist in HR. I think some of you will be doing HR. How many of you are HR, budding HR professionals here? So many of you here want to do HR. But anything that you do in life, and that's my last message, has a huge interface with HR. So my last thought for you is, you cannot become the leader I spoke about without understanding HR and leadership skills. And you cannot become a great HR professional without understanding other parts of business. So you have to understand finance, you have to understand marketing, because you're building teams for line. In this case, it could be manufacturing, it could be the service industry, it could be whatever. So whichever way you look at it, HR guys have to start learning other parts of the profession, and people from finance or marketing or operations or digital or data analytics have to start understanding the power of HR. And we are very, very lucky that we have a chapter now of NHRDN. A big round of applause to Arvind to make it happen. He's worked very, very hard to make it happen. The commitment of NHRDN, where Prem sir is here, he's a very, very busy man. His commitment to come to Shulini, which is probably a drop in the ocean in the size of the broader fraternity, for him to show his commitment, I think is exemplary. Thank you very much. Thank you, Agni. Thank you, Dhananjay. Thank you, Nalin, for coming all the way. And of course, thanks to all the students and faculty who are here. I think you guys deserve a huge round of applause. So like I always do, yeah, I heard someone clapping. You can clap again. So it's going to be my dad's 84th birthday tomorrow. Our parents are very precious. So are yours. As I always do, we're all going to stand up, and not for us, but we're going to do a round of applause for our parents because they make us what we are. So let's make it loud and reverent. Thank you very much. Please take your seats. I know I took 2 extra minutes than what I was given, but never give me the mic, Poonam. Thank you and wish you a great day. I know that there are billionaires sitting in this room. I know there might be a prime minister sitting in this room. There might be a Nobel Prize winning sitting in this room. But the last message I'd like to give is about success of a Shulini alumni. Poonam spoke about Niharika. Poonam spoke about a bunch of others. I'm not taking their power away. But last week, one of our alumni published a research paper in Nature. For people who don't know, after getting the Nobel Prize, the most exciting thing for a scientist or a researcher is to publish a paper in Nature. It was Dr. Khosla's dream. He had announced that anyone who publishes in Nature will get a 5 lakh rupee award. So he is Lokender. Dr. Lokender is not only a student of Shulini, but he works at Shulini University and he's published in Nature, which is a huge, huge, huge achievement. and demonstrates that anything is possible, nothing is impossible. In Napoleon's words, the word impossible does not exist in my dictionary. It should not exist in a dictionary. If Lokender can do it, you guys can do it. Shulani can do it. NHRDN can deliver the vision for 2047 for Prime Minister Modi, and all of us can become happy and create a glorious nation that we deserve to be. Thank you very much and truly appreciate your time and clapping for me.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Atul sir. You, on these last 11 years that we've known you, you've always inspired the students to really have big dreams for themselves. And you guys are so fortunate. You're born at the right time, in the right country, at the right place. So make the most of it. I now welcome on stage Professor Ashish Khosla, co-founder and president, Innovation and AI at Trinity University. He's an electronics engineer from Punjab Engineering College, Chandigarh, and an MBA from IIM Calcutta, with 25 years of experience as senior executive with organizations like Citibank and HSBC. Ashish is also an angel investor and is the co-founder of Adu AI. Today, he's going to put across his thoughts on a very relevant subject, and that's AI and online tools for HR processes. Over to you, Ashish.
Hi, good afternoon. I'd like to start by thanking the senior members of NHRD for being here with us today. Premji, Agni, Dhananjay Nalin, thank you very much for being here today. Arvind told me this is something that will last forever, but you have 8 to 9 minutes only. So I'll try to do that 8 to 9 minutes justice. There is this quote by one of the world's largest tech companies, which says, we will now enable HR super managers, supermen, HR supermen, and HR superwomen. And every day, since they made that prediction, they also set down a list of potential guidelines that they said, this is how the world of HR will change. This is how the world of management will change. Because, Atul said, raise your hands if you want to do HR. Raise your hands again. How many guys want to specialize in HR? Okay, that's around 20%. How many guys want to specialize in digital or technology or one of those trends? Raise your hands. Quite a few hands there. How many guys want to do marketing? Lots of hands. How many guys want to do finance? Wow, right? HR, which is human resource management or team building and leadership, is essential to all of these. So you cannot be a manager without being an HR manager some point of time in your life. And what this technology company was saying is, everything that is data-driven in HR can now be made n times faster, billion times faster. So I'll quickly take you through some thoughts, also highlighting what AI is for those of you who still new. AI, quite simply said, is when a machine can do what a human being can do. And that is the way maybe 50, 60 years back, leading thinkers of AI used to say, if a machine can do it, and you thought you should have been doing it, then it's AI, artificial intelligence. And that, has last 2-3 years, you're seeing AI everywhere. You're seeing in medicine, graphic artists. In fact, $20,000 one day I was walking across. That's the first painting that was done with the help of AI, done by a 19-year-old, $20,000. Psychology, history, teaching, and management. It's come in a big way. If you're a HR management, say in Deloitte, there is no way you're not doing people analytics and hardcore analytics. And there is no way you're not realizing every day somebody's coming out with something else. Particularly since November 22, when Gen AI became the big trend, which is ChatGPT essentially. And now you have people making HR-based large language models. Large language model is the model that is based, which ChatGPT and these types are based on. So you have specialist models around HR, which are coming and telling people how to manage workforces. A little bit of fiction also here. When we think of AI, unfortunately, when you think of AI, You always think of these things, Terminator. Who's seen Terminator 2, Terminator 1? Yeah. Or iRobot. You always think of these. iRobot. Yeah, we've all seen these movies. Always think of this general AI thingy. You know what? AI around us is very subtle. So you don't see a robot walking down Shulini University. But in almost every operation of Shulini Analytics, when you log in, we are using AI, right? So real AI is not a robot. Real AI actually sits in the cloud. And that's the big difference between fiction and understanding AI. I think a key moment, and this is a photograph I keep coming back to again and again. This is Garry Kasparov in 1997 when he got defeated by Deep Blue. Now, year back, 1996, Kasparov beat Deep Blue, version 1. He won. And people like me said, of course, Garry Kasparov will beat again any computer because Garry Kasparov is the world's best chess player ever. Full stop. Right? But 1 year later, here is Garry Kasparov, and he's like hiding his head beneath his hands. And we are not sure whether he's hiding his head because he had lost to a computer, whether he thought humankind had lost chess to a computer, or whether he thought human beings in general had lost to a computer, right? But what we've seen over the last 20 years is that human beings can actually get better by using technology, right? A very small example, and I'll come to that in a minute. I'll also make you understand where is it that AI works better. I'll come to that in a minute again, but let me just tell you, I used to play chess myself, and I was doing pretty well before AI came in to beat most. I was my college. So, okay, in college, I used to beat most people used to come across me on online chess plays. But here is when AI came in, it started consistently beating me. I could not play AI at all. For example, there is this example, I can move in 25 possible ways, right? So how many times do you think the computer needs to move if it needs to think 10 moves in advance? By the way, Kasparov thinks 8 or 9 moves in advance. The answer is 95 billion moves. 95 billion moves. That is why Kasparov lost to Deep Blue. But actually, Stockfish doesn't think 10 moves in advance. It thinks 25 moves in advance. 25 moves in advance. Oh, that's like 8881 billion moves. It's thinking in advance. Which is why Kasparov was putting his hand beneath his arm saying, what will I do? Right? But the thought is now, and let me come back to the world of chess. Kasparov have a rating of around 2700. Today, there are 8 players with better ranking than Garry Kasparov. And you know how is that possible? Because they take their ideas from AI. A very small example, and these guys are not smarter, more brilliant than Kasparov, maybe 1 or 2 is, arguably. The point is, you have 8, 9 guys ranked, even there's one Indian fellow ranked higher than Kasparov. Suddenly, how is that possible? This guy is the statue of genius when it comes to playing chess, because AI is giving them ideas. And the whole point is, as we work with AI, we can get better, right? So in one area that we've seen AI come in in a very, very big way is AI in human resource management. We've seen it for automatic hiring and interviews. So students, when you go for an interview, realize that a lot of large companies, and I'm sure Big Four does it, is the basic analytics, the pre-selection is done through AI. I'll talk about that in a minute. It's a communication coach. So we are working with one of the largest, one of the best universities in the world to come out with a communication coach for top leaders in companies. So you can use AI to beat AI or get better as well. People analytics, everything you want to know about people. How long do you think this guy will work? How much he'll work in 3 years? What is the kind of profile that can work in this kind of a role? AI is helping us. Of course, there's bias as well. I won't go into all that, Arvind. I know time is limited. But the point is, people analytics is driven by AI. Likely to resign predictor, for example, that's something that I was speaking to my previous bank, and I'd seeded it 8 years back. And somebody called me and said, Ashish, wo chal pada, right? So I was trying it 8 years back, not working. We would say likely to resign, the guy would continue. We would say likely not to resign, the guy would resign, right? So I had to take a bit of flack around that. But the guy called me 8 years back and he said, Ashish, wo chal pada, right? I should just let you know. Yeah, so it's actually able to predict likely to resign. You have training and personalized journeys. People can actually say, what do you want to do in life? Where do you want to be in the future? Do you want to go to Rwanda? What skills do you need? Let's help you on that journey. What language skills, what other skills, entrepreneur skills do you need? Thanks for highlighting that, Atul. But AI can help you get ready. It can also help you in organization network analysis. I'll come to that also in a minute. But hiring is the first. Sourcing. Arvind, we're currently asking you, source us XYZ. Using AI now, it can look at all the leadership boards, LinkedIn, and pull out the top 30 candidates we probably like to hire. Then automatically screen them, probably do some pre-assessment as well before bringing them to the panel. That's what, and if you have, for example, again, Deloitte, EY, doing thousands of hirings every month, and that's where AI is coming in a big way. So you need to understand what it's doing as human beings, right? And frankly, you can still kind of present yourself in a better way. I mean, this is what, for example, we do, and that's AI for communications coaching. Very simple thing. How do you stand when you do an interview? It can get your body posture. How do you look? How fast do you speak? The ideal speech rate is 125 to 150. Nobody can really tell you that except for a computer. So wherever there is data, that's where computers step in. And sentiment analysis, that's a very interesting thing. It can tell you what is the sentiment of anything. What is the sentiment of Atul's speech that came out? Positive, right? We can all intuitively get that, but you feed it to a computer, it will give you the sentiment of anything. And coming to sentiment analysis, that's being used by HR in new and trendy ways. For example, if you have customer interactions, you get sentiment analysis. If you have internal talks with HR, the HR guy is able to see what is the trend. Is the guy happy or not, right? Are there any key issues that are consistently being triggered? Things like that are coming through AI. Staff satisfaction surveys. Again, if you look at, one of the world's top 10 companies is no longer doing, if you come to Shulni, you say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 दबा दिया आज तो मैंने, right? Maybe I'll put 4 instead, right? What companies are saying every day, just write 2 lines about how did you feel today, right? AI is then aggregating all that and saying typically today happiness ratio is 4.5, right? It's also saying the good things about these 5 good things are working very well. These are the 5 triggers that are not working. So, for example, staff satisfaction surveys and consumer satisfaction surveys are going on to descriptive text. Not even sometimes it's not even you need to type it down, just speak it out. It'll convert speech to text and tell you what the organization is feeling. Every day you can see what the organization felt. Big issue came, you can get to know immediately. So this is the organization equivalent of social listening. One more thing is Vision AI in workspace and shop floor efficacy. You can actually design workflows to be safer. Steve Jobs spent $3 billion building that round circle. That spaceship that he's built, right? People are now looking at it, isme maza nahi aata, it's not fun, right? AI would have told him this is how you redesign it, right? So things like that. Okay, so you can do heat mapping for workspace efficiency and such types. So essentially, net, AI is a new tool. If you are an HR manager, if you are a student of management, you need to know the tool. You need to know how to use these tools. The future about being a super manager is having the power within you to use these tools, right? It is very difficult to come today and predict what will happen 3, 4 years down the line. But if you know the tools, if you're current, you can have the ability to lead workforces to the future. You'll have the ability to lead your own company to the future, hopefully your own country to the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashish. That was quite overwhelming. And I agree with you that, AI is just about everywhere. In fact, just to share a small example, a few months ago, I was looking at Srinagar tickets. Okay. And, just a few minutes after that, my phone started sending me messages saying Srinagar is missing you. How about booking your tickets? So I was so overwhelmed. I'm just kind of looking at tickets and I'm already getting a message that Srinagar is missing me. So amazing presentation, and the impact of AI on our everyday thinking, actions. I mean, it's just everywhere. For people like us, it's a bit overwhelming to cope with this. Anyways, so thank you so much for that presentation. And I now would like to invite our keynote speaker, Mr. Prem Singh, to please come up on stage and deliver his keynote address. We have that color mic? Yeah. But I also realized that that's like Sholini. Okay, so I must confess, speaking after Dr. Khosla, after Atulji, and after Ashishji is very challenging. It is just like that Arijit Singh had just sung a song, and I'm invited to sing a song after Arijit Singh. Or Virat Kohli had just batted, and I have been asked by somebody, कि भाई Prem Singh जाके batting करो अभी. So I must confess it's not easy. Having said this, I have two connections with Sholini, and I'm really cherishing those connections. Number one, Sholini provided an experience which was extremely seamless and extremely delightful. It was just about, I think it was around mid of July that I came here, and we just spoke about an idea of creating a chapter of NHRDN in the university. And within 2.5 months, we had a chapter created here. So congratulations to all of you. Second, I think it was around 25th or 24th of November when we were having a meeting, and the chapter was getting inaugurated here. And Atulji mentioned that next meeting of NHRDN board should happen here, and we would love to host that meeting in the Sholini University. And that board meeting actually happened today at Sholini. By the way, there is another very special connection which I have with Sholini. Any guess what that could be? प्रेम नाम है मेरा और प्रेम नाम है डॉक्टर खोसला का. So God bless Dr. Khosla. So Dr. Khosla, wish you many happy returns of the day. You are an inspiration. And once again, let's give a big round of applause to Dr. Khosla. Now, let me just shift gears a little bit. The topic, and I want to build it from where Dr. Khosla and Ashish ji and Atul ji left. HR and in the context of India. Historically, India has been the Sone ki chidiya. Historically. At one point of time, our share in the global trade was something like 25-26% globally. That was before the colonization. Unfortunately, history is very strange. Certain things happen which are beyond your control and you can't really predict.
the country got colonized. Slowly, that portion, 25, 26% that we had, that started coming down, and it came down to as low as 1.2 or 1.3% in 90s, right? The universities that we used to be proud of one time, Takshila, Nalanda, many others, which were the centers of higher learning globally acknowledged, they all disappeared. Our knowledge disappeared. Our business commerce went down, and we came down to that percentage, 1.2, 1.3%. But as they say, when something goes down, it has to come up. We also had to come up. And now is the time when we are actually coming up. So even as we talk now, I think our share of global trade is something like 2.2, 2.3%, which is growing again, which is a great story. And Atulji mentioned about this whole India story. Now let's understand slightly more deeply. You know, last 3-4 years, if you carefully look at only the COVID period, you know, when the COVID pandemic was underway, the entire world and all the pundits of the world were worried about India, how India will save its population against the COVID virus. And many pundits predicted that it will take about 25, 30 years for India to vaccinate its entire population. We did flat in 17 or 18 months. That is the power of India's story. Nobody thought that India could succeed in Chandrayaan-3 mission. And look at the power of resilience. Just about 1.5 years back, the same team had failed, but it decided not to accept the failure, to realize its mission. It garnered its own courage once again, rebounded back, and actually placed the Chandrayaan on moon, on the southern end of the moon. So it was not an easy story. It is not something which is usual, and it is not something which the world ever thought that a country like India would be able to do. Another data point, and this is the research based upon 2022, August 2022 to be very specific. The number of online transactions in India, August 2022, were more than 4 major economies put together. And 4 major economies included the powerful economies like US, China, Europe, Australia. Another one, when the COVID vaccinations were happening, a country like US would give you the certificate on a piece of paper that you had it. In your case, you had it in your smartphone. That's the India story. The reason why I'm saying all this, my friends, think of 2047. Vision 2047, when we want to be Viksit Bharat, the developed nation. And that is especially important for all of you. Reason being, by that time, many of you would become the CEOs. Many of you would become the CMOs, CFOs, CHROs, and many of you also would become billionaires and millionaires, and God bless, hopefully, also trillionaires. And if that has to happen, the seeds have to be sown now. Like I was just looking at the tree that was planted by Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam about 10, 12 years ago, Dr. Khosla, jo bahar humne jo 10 saal pehle, right? You know, look at the size it has grown up, but somebody planted that about 10, 12 years ago. So if India has to achieve that, if you all have to achieve those kind of positions that you wish to, the thought process, the will, the preparation, the action must start now. And I also want to relate to what has been quoted in Ramcharitmanas, because those epics are so natural, symbiotically natural to us, spiritually connecting all of us to that. You know, when the entire Vanar Sena, and it's a reference given in the Ramcharitmanas, when the entire Vanar Sena, Ramchandraji and Lakshman, they were all meeting and they were all debating, how do we find out Sita Mata? How do we really see where she is, and who will do that task? So nobody could raise their hands and they were all worried. But there was somebody called Jamvant who said, there is someone in this crowd who is so powerful. Only thing is, he needs to be reminded of his powers. And that was Hanuman. So Jamvant then reminded Hanuman, Buddhi Vivek Bal Pavan Samana, Kachup Sada Rahe Balwana. Reminding that the power that you have is as strong as your father, as quick as the air, and you all have it in you. Therefore, you don't need to worry. All you need to take action. So friends, the India story, what you are going to do in next 10, 20, 25 years, you all have it in you. We have seen it in the last couple of years. All we need is just brush up our skills. All we need is put our actions together in place. And all we need to make sure that we play our cards well, effectively, strategically. Now, let me shift the gears a little bit. The topic of today's talk, and I will not go too much into the details, leaving the task to the panel, क्योंकि सब कुछ मैं ही बता दूंगा, तो पैनल वाले क्या बताएंगे. So I will also ask them to do some job. ताली बजा सकते हो, ताली बजाने में कोई कंजूसी नहीं है. You know, new age HR. Why do we call it as new age HR or new age of HR? Look at it this way. Globally and particularly in India, what is happening is tremendous amount of change. And therefore, we call it as new age of HR in India. 7 or 8 out of 10 organizations within India are investing massively in technology. You would have heard something called as digital transformation, technology transformation. And there are many technologies, in fact, as many as 7 or 8 technologies, which loosely are described as digital, which are going into the business operations. And we got a glimpse of what that means for the business through the presentation of Professor Khosla just now, Ashish ji. And we understood what the future is looking like. If that is the kind of future that is looking like, it means HR professionals also need to think differently. HR also need to strategically reorient their actions. How many HR professionals can appreciate and understand the language of digital or ESG or IoT or the high-end technologies? I think to the extent that you are able to appreciate and understand those technologies, you will be able to effectively deliver and influence the business outcome. So that is number one. Number two, India is a young country. The average age is about 28.5 years, right? The future employees who are going to enter the workforce, and actually that trend is already beginning to happen, are those kids who sleep with the technology, who get up with the technology, who go to bed while looking at their smartphone and get up. The first thing they do is look at their smartphone. मेरे जमाने में और काफी लोगों के जमाने में जब आप सुबह सो के उठते थे तो आप लोग करते थे कराग्रे वसते लक्ष्मी कर मध्य सरस्वती. अभी आप क्या करते हो? When you get up, look at your smartphone कि कल रात को जो मैंने पोस्ट डाला था उस पे कितने likes आए, कितने comments आए, right? That's how the technology is, right? So these kids, the new generation has to be managed differently. That's a considerable challenge for HR. Number 3, let's dive deeper into this new crop or new group of people who are entering the workforce. While it is a good news that the young age group which is entering the workforce is very ambitious, tech savvy, very forward looking, but there is also something which is not so great news. Now, let me elaborate what I mean. Majority of the kids who are growing up today in large number of families, and they will enter the workforce, are growing up in a nuclear family environment. Majority of the kids who are growing up today in the nuclear family environments are single child for their parents. And if I may say, and I say this with a lot of responsibility, majority of these kids are growing up in an environment which is extremely protective, sort of pampering in nature. And in many cases, many of these kids would not have had or will not have to hear no from their parents. Fast forward, just imagine in your mind, when you look at these kids growing up few years later and ask yourself a question, how resilient will they be? How effective will they be as team players? Because sharing to इन्होंने देखा ही नहीं है, right? How strong will they be to deal with the challenges, to deal with the failures, to deal with the frustrations, disappointments? Will they be as strong, as resilient as the scientists of ISRO who faced a challenge 1 year later and delivered Chandrayaan-3 on the moon successfully? Or they will tend to give up, or they will be too brittle? The research shows the challenges are likely to be against us. The odds are against us considerably, because the way you are growing the way you are growing the kids, that is the same way they will show up in terms of their behavior at the workplace. So the challenge that I'm putting together to the panelists, and I would request them to kind of delve a little deeper into this, and also to the audience, be ready to deal with this kind of people coming up. And therefore, we also need to think of how do we make them even more robust? How do we leverage their ambitions, their tech savviness, at the same time guard against the possibility of disappointment later on? So we need to support this crop of future employees coming up into the corporate with a lot of support system. I'm not being judgmental. It's nothing right or wrong. It is the way the evolution takes place. It is the way humans evolve. And the way humans evolve, we need to generate our response system. And we need to make sure that we have a response available so that we are able to effectively navigate ourselves, eventually making sure that we are able to realize our mission 2047. Right? So without much ado, I would once again compliment Shulini, Dr. Khosla, Atulji, Ashishji, all your team members, and Arvindji, Madam. Thank you very much for being a great host. Thank you for allowing National HRD Network to join hands with you. One word I can talk about National HRD Network. We are working very closely with many organizations, private sector, public sector, also with government agencies, to make sure that we make a difference towards Viksit Bharat by 2047. Towards that mission, I was so glad to hear from Atulji that Shulini will be happy to partner We are looking forward to that sort of a partnership. I must also say that Sholini, to our great delight, is already emerging a center of excellence. We didn't know, personally, I must confess, I didn't know such a great work is happening. So all of you students, all of you are part of the university, which is a center of excellence. Before I close, एक कहानी आपको और सुना देता हूं. कहानी सुनना चाहोगे? रियल कहानी है. Many years ago, when I was a young graduate, I'm still young, by the way. When I just passed out of engineering as a young graduate, I got admission in ISC Bangalore, Indian Institute of Science. And the director, and this kahani is actually for you, the director of that institute used to be Professor C.N.R. Rao, who also used to be the scientific advisor to the Prime Minister. And so on the first day, like you are all seated here, all the students were seated in the hall. Professor Rao, along with his 4 or 5 senior people, comes to the dais straight away. Not too much of formalities. Straight comes to the dais. Good morning, everyone, etc., etc. And then he asks a question. He says, before I start my speech, one question I have for all of you is, when you entered this campus, did you ever see the nameplate or the signboard about ISC Bangalore? So everybody started thinking, no, no, no. Anywhere on the roadside, any signage? No. Any signage near the library? No. Any signage near the mess, the cafeteria? No. Anywhere else? No. No signage. And then he asked another question. Let me ask another one. And he said, have you seen moon? Everybody said, yes, yes. When you look at the moon, do you see the name moon written on the face? So everybody said, no. Then he said, that's exactly the reason there is no signage. Because you are part of a cream institution, globally known, which does not need a name, which does not need a name to be mentioned, which does not need a signage anywhere. It is known and recognized and acknowledged for what it does. Friends, and I'm saying this with a very high sense of responsibility and respect for Sholini. Few days ago, a paper has been published in Nature. That's a great accomplishment. I do not think many Indian universities will have that kind of a distinction. Dr. Khosla, Atulji, and Ashishji already have a dream that we also should have a Nobel Prize coming out of Sholini University. You already have a dream of becoming one of the top 200 global universities in the world. These are tall dreams. But believe you me, the tall dreams can only be dreamed by those people who have conviction, who have done it, who have capacity, who have the foresight. To all of you, the students, I would like to say this. You are part of a journey, you are part of a story, you are part of an institution which has deep roots in excellence. Imagine the 3 members of family who are involved in the university are coming from a very extremely excellence-driven background. Academics, excellence in corporate. Make the best use of this opportunity. What you get is what the university provides you in terms of environment and opportunity. What you make out of is really up to you. Choose to make the best out of this. Finally, I will say this, and this is to Dr. Khosla and family. चले थे अकेले ही जानिब ए मंजिल, चले थे अकेले ही जानिब ए मंजिल, मगर लोग आते गए, कारवां बनता गया. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Singh, for that thought-provoking interaction. In fact, I'd like to tell you that yes. All right. So you said you've given some homework to the panel, and we will sort of hear their views when they. He's one of the panelists. Yes. So he's going to be a part of that homework. Yes. Definitely. So let's see how the discussion comes up. And now may I invite for the panel discussion our President and Dean School of Business Management, Manish Sarawat, to please take over the stage. In fact, what I was telling Mr. Singh is that when President Kalam came for our first convocation about 12 years ago, and Dr. Khosla said that, we'd like to be in the top 200 global universities. So he said, why 200? Why not 100? So I thought I should just share that experience with you. Over to you, Manish.
I'd like to invite our panelists, firstly, Premji. Sir, then Mr. Agnivesh. Professor Kaul, please join us. बहुत ही छोटा पैनल हो जाएगा, आप आएंगे तो So firstly, I think a pre or post lunch session is always very, very interesting. Hopefully this is pre, we'll keep it short. I don't think so we have too much of time. So I hope it'll be an appetizer before lunch. And firstly, there was an interesting insight on opportunities given by Atul, our Vice Chancellor. And by the way, I worked in Chennai for 6 years, right? And this was a time when nobody used to go to Chennai. And I can attest to the fact that I saw a lot of innovation in Chennai. One of India's first GCC, Citibank started something called eServe. And in those days, GCC was not even a name. And it started operations, it scaled up those operations, and it did its first $1 billion deal to TCS. I saw India's first prepaid card being launched out of Citibank's, card headquarters in Chennai. So there's a lot of interesting stuff happening in Chennai. And the point is, to what Atul was saying, do you have the courage? So when I was going to Chennai, somebody told me, "Yaar, kahan ja rahe ho? Aap Kale Pani mein ja rahe ho kya?" But I wanted to learn about cards, and that was the place where Citibank had its center of excellence in that time. So opportunities will come, and even to Africa. Some of my friends actually went to places like Malawi to set up banks. So, Malawi is a very poor nation. So one of my ex-colleagues, he went there as a CEO, and he started a small bank, and it became a regional bank. So, the opportunities are always there. And since today we are going to speak about HR opportunities in terms of trends, challenges. So firstly, obviously, Agni is to whom I'll pose few questions. And just like Atul and Agni had this probability of being on a flight, me and Agni we just discovered this morning, we worked on a project together called True North in London, which is very interesting. What was the probability of that we both worked on a project? Yeah. Okay. So there are a lot of things happening, with human resources, people, great resignation, uh, going back to work, AI at workplace, analytics. There are so many trends which are emerging. Some of them are very exciting. Some of them are actually very, very challenging. So my question to you, Agni, would be, how do you make sense of all these trends, right? And what kind of mindset do you need to succeed with unprecedented change?
Okay. First of all, good afternoon. Okay, so can we do a 30-second exercise only for students? Just stand up from your stuff. and just exchange your seat with your neighbor. Just exchange your seat with your neighbors. Now you can sit down. So you took less than 25 seconds. Imagine you just became uncomfortable, correct? Because somebody asked you to sit and change your places. The first mantra for any disruption, not from today, from 500 years till the time we started thinking about jobs, industries, let's say 300, 200 years, from the daytime, disruption keep happening. And after 10 years, I am sitting again here I will sit here again and discuss the same thing, new age HR. 10 years back also we used to do that, right, Prem sir? 20 years back also we used to do that. So what I mean to say that we must always be comfortable with uncomfortable. Correct? The first thing that what we need to look at is the mindset, that how quickly we can adapt to these changes. When Prem Bhai spoke, a very beautiful thing. When Atul Bhai spoke, when Dr. Khosla spoke, when Ashish spoke, believe me, there is nothing left for me to speak at all. So I was just organizing thought. Am I getting slap or am I getting clap? So at the risk of getting rotten tomatoes from you, digital virtual rotten tomatoes from you, I thought I'll give you certain tips, which is going to help you out in terms of your career, in terms of what is looking at, right? So I will be giving you some certain generic stuff. Again, with a lot of responsibility, I'm telling, the day you are passing out from the college, you are irrelevant. I am not joking. Your skills, your everything is irrelevant. What is relevant is your attitude, your learning agility, how quick you can adapt to the newer ways of work, how good you are able to, manage into the environment. You read finance, you read HR, you read technology, anything that you read will help you only to get you into the organization. Every organization will have their own parameters, or probably even if you start up your own stuff, it will be way beyond your, the others. So what you need to look at, 2, 3 important part. One, am I going to take the challenges? Right? Am I ready to take this, am I ready to understand what exactly is in for me? Am I able to scale up? Am I able to fail and recover my failure with fast pace? It's not that I keep failing, right? Because I saw that C.V. Raman's quote, uh, if you don't fail, you will not improve. So how fast you come up this? What is your resilience? Because just now you see this. And then second important part, that how well you are aware to adopt to the technology and understand the art of possibilities. Again, some question back to you so that you can see somebody else not, keeping, you are still awake. How many of you drive car or a motor vehicle? Almost all of you know how to drive the motor vehicle. Out of those who drive motor vehicle, how many of you are automobile engineers? None of them. But still you know how to drive, because what you know the art of possibility, what this particular tool does. Similarly, how many of you are aware of the newest AI platform, Sora, which was just released 3-4 days back? Some of you know, right? Look at the possibility. So what it does, it converts a text into a video format in 30-second or one minute video format. This is the fast-paced technology part. So I, as a management student, or I, as a, going to study, most of you are management students itself, right? So, which I gather. Do I understand the nuances of this technology and how this technology is going to enable me to make smarter decisions? What are the use cases where I can use this particular technology and tell you don't have to worry about coding and all. When I speak to students, what I, apprehensions of all the students are this: what will happen? AI is coming, this Gen AI is coming. Do I need to be prompt engineer? No, you don't need to be all that. Come on. I'm saying that you don't need to be automobile engineer to drive a car. Similarly, your mindset has to shift, that how can I build the use cases of it? How can I look my customers? How can I give this value to the customer using this technology, right? Which is cost saving, which is more enterprising, right? So you understand the second point of it. One, get comfortable with uncomfortable. Second point was like, there is always an unstructured world. You will not get things on the plate. That's why I'm saying the day you are passing out from the college, you are irrelevant. It means that you are welcome to the unstructured world where you need to quickly structure your thoughts, your personality, and how you are going to serve your customer. Right? So these are the things. And then your everything remains the same, right? Then you look at the basics. Technology today, 10 years back, we were talking about robotics, social media, SMAC, right? If you reading and Atul bhai, you might be knowing that used to call it SMAC, social media, mobility, analytics, and cloud, right? 4 or 5 things we're talking about 5 6 years back. Today we don't even talk. The way we are changing after 5 months, I don't know what we're talking about because the kind of repeat changes. But what is happening? Are we getting redundant? No. We are getting redundant only when we stop learning. Are we getting redundant only when we are stop experimenting? The day my curiosity dies, I die. The time you think you are going to going to be replaced by machine, you will, because your curiosity is not is not getting up to the mark, right? So my third mantra is that stay curious. Stay curious. Come, whatever technologies keep coming, there will be a lot of challenges keep coming in. People will say that Gen Z, what is happening? You are the stuff like that, which Prem Bhai also touched upon. The kind of problem organizations are facing, the kind of problem you guys are facing in the organization when you are coming in. Your school, your parents never beat you. Your school never beat you. No punishment. Maximum क्या होता था? पापा में से sign करवा के ले आना. Used to also do that, right? When you came to the college, no comments because you know what is happening. No one is beating you. No one is doing that. This only that you have to take some pressure of your assessments. Now what is happening? You are a pampered kid. Now the same thing, you come to the organization. First day your boss shouted at you, why you have not delivered this in this time? You are devastated. You start going to the portal and start making your CVs. Fourth important part which I wanted to share with you is that understand your emotional quotient, right? Understand, and probably you should look at it. How can I be emotionally resilient to understand what is the need of the hour? Right. So these are the initial thoughts that I would like to suggest with the students to look at. In the softer skills, technology will keep changing. You will have a lot of things coming in which Ashish has already shown you that in AI, Gen AI, what is happening, then probably we can look at when we go forward. So these are my initial thought for you guys to make sure that at least you do four, five things together, which will really help you to stand out in your stuff. And last but the not least, institution don't make people. People make institutions. So you are the responsible and most enterprising batch who has to make this university more successful with your commitment, with your output. And each one of you see, I see many trillion, not billionaires, I've seen many trillion sitting in this room for tomorrow itself.
So, opportunities have always been there in every age, with every generation. While we are all very excited about AI, 15 years back, 14 years back, before AI was a fashionable world, uh, I was involved in building up a system where we wanted to ensure that in a global organization, somebody needs a CFO in a particular country, say Mexico, and that organization, if it works in 60 countries, how can I quickly figure out where is a talented person who could be interested in this position, right? And we went about doing it without AI, just using a lot of data, making sure every employee, every competency, is measured, it is put into systems, right? And then ultimately, if I'm sitting in Mexico and I press a button, it tells me there are 8 people whose ratings are, they are rated 1. These people are mobile, right? This is with data, right? And these people would be interested in this job. And this is something that was done 14, 15 years back. So my point is, whether there is AI, whether there is automation or something else which comes up, a lot of it will also depend upon your problem solving skills, your curiosity, your ability to have that right mindset. So I'm still going to stick with Agni because Agni wears a couple of hats. So one is obviously he's the national treasurer for NHRDN. The other point is he is a director for human capital consulting at Deloitte. So, in terms of opportunities, Agni, because you consult with a lot of organizations, what kind of opportunities are your clients seeing, and what tell us some interesting stuff which is happening where people in the human capital domain are doing things to improve life, improve workplace practices, or just are futuristic in nature.
Yeah, so again, not to be quoted outside, this is only for academic purpose because as a PSR firm, we generally don't speak about, the how it works and stuff like that, right? So few important things in the trend, right? If you look at, so what is the trend that we are looking at? We are looking at three important trend. One is work, worker, and workforce. So your work is changing, worker is changing, and your workplace is also changing. So there are just three fundamental bigger changes happening, and entire organization's policy processes and the newer age of business also has to transform accordingly so that you can keep a pace. Imagine you guys are Instagram kids. If I don't give you Instagram like environment in my office, you will not even stay for a day. Correct? So I need to create my system processes such a way so that you are looking at Instagram. If my learning is not on micro learning side, you will, because you are a real generation, right? You will not look at the PDF book or you will not go for the books. But the same thing, if I give you a 30-minute bite size of the learning, macro learning, what is happening? This is going to look at that. So the trend, what is happening in terms of work? Again, see, some disruption happen, right? And then you know that due to the COVID and probably and different wars happening in the global, what we have seen. Uh, in between, empathy was one of the most talked about word because I avoided telling this in my previous uh, talk. Uh, Empathy was the core always, right? Because we realized that if I empathize with my customer, I can innovate. How can I make things better for him? Because any startup, what they did, they try to solve the problem by just putting empathy and solving the problem, right? Similarly, what are the new age problems? What are the new age social problem? What are the new age business problems? Where are the growth? Looking at, like if I'm looking at growing at certain speed, I also need to create my processes, I also need to create my people, I also need to enable all those challenging environment to upskill themselves, right, to certain level, right? And then you have got two things: one, build or buy. Either I build, in fact I build from scratch, or I buy talent from outside, or I buy acquisition from this way. So you might have seen in recent past a lot of mergers, a lot of acquisitions, hostile mergers, hostile acquisitions happening. Reason behind, because they need to aggregate their business to the next level. Two three challenges at this point of time that what we envisage. One, that how we are culturally aligning to the overall scheme of the organization, right? Because as I say, that the time you are uh, going to the organization, your skills, the current skills might not be relevant. There is a huge push, even from the business side, even from the, let's say if I'm looking at margin side, why don't you look at tier 2, tier 3 students? Because they are giving you equal amount of, deliverables, which tier 1 business schools is giving. So you will see that a lot of futuristics are talking about, and you might be also reading somewhere on the blogs or WhatsApp University saying that um, your degree is going to be irrelevant in next few years. Certain organizations, you might have heard Amazon, Twitter, Meta, they also get away with the degrees now. What they're looking at skills. What skills you are possessing? Because then again, there was a debate happening between experience and the skills, right? Experience and skills. So this is the new age. What is talking about? If you have the skills, you will always be employed, come in what may. And that's why what is happening, that you will see that when we're talking about 25% of Indian global workforce will be Indian, because we will acquire those skills. And government has already started thinking, not now, 10-15 years back, when they started something called NSDC, that is National Skill Development Corporation, right? Where we can give those skills so that we can be the global manpower employment, and probably provide the services to that, right? So these are the basic things that we are looking at in terms of business changes, how quickly we can adapt to the newer technology, how quickly we can build a use cases to this. If not me, somebody else build, right? So we can look at this. So to look at three fundamental things in terms of the policy that is making, because we know that most of you have got taste of the hybrid school. You might have gone to the hybrid school or hybrid colleges. Similarly, organizations are also looking at hybrid schools. So your policies according to look at that. Then second thing, looking at your well-being, because sometimes it happens that, there is a chances, because let's say just now Narayan Murthy, ex-boss, has steered a debate about 70 hours a week, right? You need to work for that. But if you look at honestly, not that he was my ex-boss, but at the same time, you look at that, am I not working 70 hours a week? I think yes. Sometimes what is happening, we are not able to integrate it in our life, right? We are not passionate about it. That when Virat Kohli, they say, when we talk about Virat Kohli, you will never find Virat Kohli cribbing that, yeah, this guy is like, no, I just came from paternity leave. He's asking me to play for 16, 17 hours or to doing the practice. So find out your passion, and the time put that passion to your purpose, it will really help each one of you to do that. And that is the part of organization, because most of organizations talking about how can we, align your skills, your attitude, your behavior to the larger, purpose of the organization. And that's why they can control you. That's why like lot of happiness curriculum is coming, lot of, mindfulness thing is coming to the work. So these are the things we look at in the future, and probably look at that. Just all skills are anyways relevant on that.
Thanks, Agni. So I can assure you, our students also do a lot of their assignments on Instagram. So they're quite in tune with reality. So Professor Kaul, very quickly over to you. In terms of we spoke about trends, opportunities, and all. What is your assessment of how are we teaching our students nowadays in terms of being prepared for this new age of HR? Is it something which requires a big revamp, or is it something we are very happy with? Your comments.
Thank you, sir. And good afternoon, everyone, once again. So I'll start with a beautiful share, okay, for you all. That यूं तो दरिया में होते हैं कतरे ही कतरे सभी. कतरा मीन्स ड्रॉप ऑफ वाटर. यूं तो होते हैं दरिया में कतरे ही कतरे सभी. कतरा वही है कि जिसमें दरिया दिखाई दे. It means that today, whichever way you highlight yourself and you carry yourself, this is what is going to ensure what you are going to be. So start reflect. So, thank you. So start reflecting yourself with that perspective from today onwards, right? And you will see that over a period of time, it will become a part of your life, a part of your discipline, and you will live life that way only, right? You have to decide. So coming back to your question, sir, that it's a very, very dynamic process, ongoing process. And with the way the technology is changing so fast, you buy a mobile phone, you're out of the showroom, and it says, please update your software. 10 minutes. And you're surprised. मैंने तो अभी लेटेस्ट नया फोन खरीदा 10 मिनट के अंदर अगेन सॉफ्टवेयर अपडेट. If that is the pace of technology changing, we cannot 100% with surety say that this is what is going to click. So you have to keep your eyes, ears, antennas up and running, and you need to know that what is it that is in for you. However, we also do that exercise, right? We keep updating our curriculum. We have been noticing the change in the technology and the industry which is happening. We keep incorporating subjects like data analytics, business analytics, right? Data visualization. And I mean, the rule which is applicable for you, it is applicable for the faculty members also. When sir introduced the FDP, which is Faculty Development Program, while we are telling you to be tech savvy, which you are already to a great extent, but at the same time, we also need to hone our skill sets. So there's a faculty development program for Tableau. So we are also learning how to, have a better data visualization and representation. So, there are many subjects which we keep coming up with, we keep introducing, we keep honing ourselves, and we keep guiding our students also. My biggest win was today in the morning at 9:15 class, Sanjeev sir, more than 95% people were present. I think big round of applause for you all. This shows, and most of the MBA first year students are sitting here. As a teacher, as a faculty, your heart gets overwhelmed because that shows the sincerity, the commitment that you are coming and you want to study and you want to, possibly this has come from a grueling sessions, training sessions, right? The sprint program which we had, and this has made you as a part of life that maybe some people were sleepy, I won't hide the fact, but I had to call them on the dais and they had to speak few words, right? So suddenly they were on their heels and they were all woken up. The point is that, as Agnivesh sir also said, that you need to be comfortable with uncomfortable. Come out of your comfort zone. Face your fears. Understand what technology requires, right? Today, I tell you, companies are looking forward to people who are very, very culturally fit people, who can adapt themselves to different environment, right? Otherwise, no manager would want a conflict happening amongst their employees. And that's the reason why we have sessions like, advanced interaction programs. Then we have, in sprint sessions, the groups which we make, the projects which they have to show up, right? So these all things are taking you towards your goal achievement from a farther point of view. And Prem sir also talked about, Chandrayaan. I remember another small poem कि एक शिक्षक जब 1000 बार अपनी कक्षा में गया होगा तब जाकर चंद्रयान अपनी कक्षा में पहुंच पाया है, right? So this is for all the faculty members. It's not easy. So while you guys are working hard, you are slogging, faculty members are equally committed to be part with you and also learn from each other. I think that is what the latest trends are all about, sir, I think. And we are able to live up to it.
Thanks, Professor Kaul. So what we'll do is, I know I can see some growling tummies here before lunchtime. So we need to have some questions, and I think you can pose your questions to us, Mr. Agni. We'll not let Premji run away. You didn't have the opportunity to pose questions to him, including Atul, Ashish, and others. So guys, a couple of questions, please.
Yeah. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hello,
Hello.
guys. I'm Priyanshu from BBA Digital Marketing, from fourth sem. So my question was like, as AI is screening people for jobs and stuff, how can it measure a person's EI, emotional intelligence? Because I think an emotional model of a person can only be measured by another person by directly interacting with that model. But AI cannot do that. It can also only check a person's facial interactions, the way they are, and it puts like different scores and stuff, but it cannot directly assess a person's EI model. And EI is an important part in hiring anyone. So my question is, how can EI affect screening like that? That's
Okay.
about it.
Can I take a shot on this, because
Yeah,
we do
sure,
a lot.
sure.
See, AI is assistive technology. Okay, it gives you data. It gives you data. I tell you, in my previous organization, when I was doing interview, so when I was interviewing, right side to me, I used to get all the feelers: nervous, lying, all the sentiment analytics, which Ashish Bhai has spoken about, right? So what happens? 30 minutes is really less time, or 25 minutes is really less time to get the person on, get the person to be thinking that whether the person is right or wrong, right? But having said that, there are two, three things. One, assistive technology gives you certain data, which is critical, which is detrimental for your job description, what you are looking out, right? You cannot have a person which is like a doctor playing engineer role, right? But if the doctor has great attitude, I can make him engineer, or an engineer can be a doctor, right? So look at the attitude. Second important part is still the gut feeling, right? Where element of biasness comes, might not come, that we can't negate it. But having said that, when we screen a person, we look at two, three important part, apart from the assistive technology has given. One, that what is your attitude? You may be super, that data says you are the superstar. I give you example in 2001 or 2, when I was sitting in one of the placement with my boss. I was an intern in IIT Mumbai. While discussing, the guy was sounding super cool, super, that super, he's the superhuman, we should even hire him. And my boss says, no, I'm not going to hire him. Why? Because attitude. Because that time I couldn't understand, because the kind of tone that you have, the kind of, attitude you show, the kind of, facial expression that you show. He says, boss, he's good, but he will not fit in our stuff. Our stuff. So look at this, screening 2, 3 things that, AI gives you assistive. Then later on, we also use our own human judgment to see that whether I can take a bet on this guy, whether this guy will culturally fit in my organization or not. Sometime you might not be going to certain organizations. Don't get uh, go, don't get disheartened. The reason behind why I say you, because you might not fit in there. How bad it will be that if you come there and you struggle from day one, right? So organization also doesn't want to do that. So there might be certain cases where you sit in the placement, you are not there. Don't get disheartened. Believe me, just take it lightly that you don't belong to there. That's perfectly fine. Be it even the best of organization, because Steve Jobs was not offered in most of the organization as well, right? But see where he take this stuff like that. So that's why I say that assistive technology, we always go for, the overall package. It gives them idea. Sometimes it also happens that AI says that no, we cannot look at this guy. But if I find there's a spark in the candidate, I'll always offer him.
Want to add what Agni said. And that's important. You see, technologies will keep on changing, evolving, getting better. With that pace, the choice that we have is either you also evolve, get better, and maintain pace with the technology, or you don't. If you don't, you will get obsolete. So preventing human obsolescence or your obsolescence is as important as anything else. And therefore, they use a phrase called lifelong learning. So remain a learner, remain curious, like Agni said. In fact, there was a research, and Atulji will vouch for that. McKinsey carried out a research about success. How much is it how much is it based upon your functional skills or domain skills versus your soft skills? 85% of the success is attributed to your soft skills. Working with people, teamwork, curiosity, creativity. Most importantly, learning, remaining a lifelong learner. Learning agility is very important.
I am Yogesh Pandey.
He doesn't need a mic.
My question is to Akhilesh sir. As talked about that there are three types of major changes in that workers and workplace. So according to the changes in workers, when you are thinking about making changes, adapting your workplace, how long does the process take place? How does it work? And where is the line drawn that this is where we have to preserve the culture which has been going on for so long, and these are the changes which will not be made to adapt to the work?
Okay, so very good question. And then answer is cultural change, right? So cultural change doesn't happen overnight, right? So what we need to look at, we look at embracing the mindset. Example, uh, you are saying that, hey, I want to have some flexi hours. Example, I need to have flexi hours. I'll deliver this work. Now I need to check that whether my customer or whether my business have that appetite to increase, to have that, consume that flexi hours. Can I make sure that your output is given in that way so that no, there is a go-to-market solution or go-to-market, deliverables, it doesn't suffer. So accordingly, we look at that. And second, it's also look at how you are onboarded. So if you look at timing, certain organizations will look for you to start working on the day, hitting on the ground on the day one. Certain organizations say, let's take 15 days, 30 days, 45 days, 60 days, and 90 days onboarding process. So it depends, role to role. Example, if a CEO comes, he will not get 90 days grace period. See, Nitish Kumar changed his job in 4 minutes or 4 hours. Or probably, let's say that Devendra, this guy, Sinde, he becomes CM for a half an hour. He doesn't have the onboarding period of 10 days, first day, second day. What he does, you run with it. Depending upon which role you are joining. If you are joining at leadership role, there is no if but. You need to look at your strategy, vision, and this is the organization value and culture. You need to run it. When you are coming as a fresh intake, right? What you need to look at that how you are aligning yourself to the vision which organization has made. And then there are specific training program, enablement program, sensitization program to make you on that. Just follow the processes. See, one thing I missed to tell you that integrity is going to be important part. Integrity is going to be important part. I tell you the story. One Harvard professor went to alumni meet in the Harvard itself. And the professor was telling this one of the virtual conferences that I attended. He said that every year I used to see the declining of Harvard alumni coming to the alumni meet. So in one of the alumni meet, only there were, let's say, 30, 35 Harvard alumni, turned up. Why? Because rest of them were either on the jail or either facing some of the, legal issues. Why? Because they were, high flying guys, missed on integrity, some insider trading, right? So these are the stuff. So what I mean to say, technology will catch you anytime. The basic courtesy which I noticed today in the morning in the slide of Atul was integrity. Serve with integrity. So please make sure that you guys do each action in integrity itself, and then the culture will not be in question, because I have the conceptual clarity, I have the attitude to learn, I have got attitude to serve. You can do wonders.
Okay, yeah, a big round of applause for Agni. I think I just want to expand this because this is a very important question. Culture, you said that change, कैसे करें, कितना करें, करें कि नहीं करें, how much. And briefly you touched upon, although you didn't take that name, something around values because you use the word preserve. Now, friends, I just want to make this distinction. Culture and values are two different things. Values are those boundaries which define the norms of rightness or wrongness, right action or wrong action. Being truthful, being compliant of values. Values are those principles which distinguish you, where you decide that I will not cross this boundary, I will not cross this line. Those are very important. In fact, there is a saying, values create value. Never ever compromise on your values. And because values, you never know, your values, your principles travel several miles ahead of you. Many times when you are being interviewed, you don't know, but already your recruiter, potential recruiter, is already having a long sheet and long history about you, about how you conducted yourself in a particular situation. And there are some defining moments. Never ever compromise on values, because that is what takes you ahead in life. Beyond a point, it's not about the skills. It's about your reputation, about your perception. Guard, preserve, and make sure you maintain that. Be genuine, be truthful, be authentic. This is another dimension which I thought I'll bring out. It's important. In today's jamana, we like to show ourselves more competent. We like to show ourselves more strategic. We like to show ourselves more futuristic. We like to show ourselves more of what we are not many a times. We like to show ourselves something which will impress interviewers. We like to show ourselves something which will impress our bosses. Many a times in this race, we don't realize it, we actually start living a life which we are not, artificial. That creates a very different kind of pressure. In that, you lose your originality. Don't do that. Very expensive. Extremely. Be genuine, be yourself. It is when you are yourself starts lifting you up. Just hone your strengths, build on your strengths. Do not try to copy what you are not, because that will take you only thus far. In jobs, in your assignments, while interacting with your teachers, while interacting with your bosses, and you will soon be in the corporate environment, be genuine to yourself. If you feel something, if you feel strongly about something, say it. Even if it means you have to differ with your boss, do that. It's not wrong. Differ with your boss. argue out. Don't be argumentative. Unfortunately, and why I strongly recommend, majority of the people like to do ha with the bosses. Majority of the people. Very few people will stick to their guns. But when you do that, make sure that you are grounded in the reality. You have done your homework. हाँ में हाँ मिलाने वाला जो trend है, it is very risky. It is very dangerous. It does not allow you to distinguish. You know, typically corporate environment में क्या होता है कि सब हाँ में हाँ मिलाते हैं, ज्यादातर लोग, हर एक आदमी नहीं, ज्यादातर लोग, and बॉस को कोई displease करना नहीं चाहता. So just to elaborate on the lighter note, यहां सब खामोश है. एक कॉर्पोरेट, टिपिकल कॉर्पोरेट एनवायरनमेंट की पिक्चर पेंट कर रहा हूं. यहां सब खामोश है. यहां कोई सच नहीं बोलता. सच बोलकर कोई किसी को नाराज नहीं करता. राजा बोले रात है, रानी बोली रात है, मंत्री बोले रात है, संतरी बोले रात है, और सुबह सुबह की बात है. So very expensive to be not yourself, not advisable. Be authentic, be genuine, be yourself. That's easy. And then you will shine. Thank you.
I think it's time to wrap up. I'm not going to take more time. We was looking at new age of HR, but I just wanted to remind all of us that there's a new age of Bharat also, which is there. We're in exciting times. So I think make the most out of it. And, all the best to all the students. And thank you so much to the panelists. Thank you to all the speakers, our Vice Chancellor, Ashish, Premji obviously also had some very interesting couplets for us. So there's a lot of entertainment value also. You'd make for a great professor, sir. So you can come and give some lectures here, right? And once again, wishing a very happy birthday to our Chancellor, Prem sir, right? So over to you, Poonam.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. That was really engaging. And as they say, change is the only constant in life. So change or be left behind. And thank you, students, for asking such thought-provoking questions too. I personally feel that, AI can take over all fields in life, but that human touch that is required, and especially sometimes they say teachers will be replaced by AI. But I feel that the warmth, the presence, the physical, being of a teacher for the students is something that can never be replaced. Would you agree with me? Thank you. All right. So, yes, over to you. नहीं आप बोलिए.
एक माइक थोड़ा मैं क्राउड में दे दूं, and I want you all to sing this song with me. I think the girls are more. And this is for Dr. Khosla. बार बार दिन ये आए, बार बार दिल ये गाए, बार बार दिन ये आए, बार बार दिल ये गाए, तुम जियो हजारों साल, ये मेरी है आरज़ू. हैप्पी बर्थडे टू यू, हैप्पी बर्थडे टू यू. Happy birthday, dear Dr. Khosla. Happy birthday to you. God bless you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Picture अभी बाकी है. Sir का birthday कल है. And you are all cordially invited to the celebration tomorrow. So now, moving towards the closure of the program, I would like to invite Mr. Arvind Nanda to please extend a vote of thanks to everyone. In fact, we owe him a big thank you because since the time Mr. Singh and other people from NHRDN came here, he's been the driving force along with Sanjeev and the team members. And I'm sure he has quite a few people to thank too. So over to you.
Thank you very much, Poonam. It's indeed a very momentous day when we have Dr. Khosla's Prerna Divas tomorrow, and we have such august company with us, and we had a board meeting of NHRD, and honestly speaking, I never could imagine that in such a fast pace, that small discussion I had with Premji, about 4 or 5 months back would transform this relationship and establish it so deeply and beautifully. A lot of amazing thoughts have been exchanged, a lot of opportunities, as all of the speakers have said, a lot of challenges too, because if opportunities have to be leveraged and your strengths have to be leveraged, you need to be skilled and you have to be prepared. So I won't, Manish said there were growling stomachs. I think they are roaring now. I won't take too much time. I have plenty of people to thank, like Poonam said. First of all, the NHRD and board members and the leadership. Uh, Thank you very much for making it. First of all, Mr. Prem Singh, who is the national president and a dear friend, and he has been talking about plenty of stories and other things. So there's a small story that he is the one who said we'll have it on 17th of February, about 2 months back, and we all moved and organized ourselves accordingly. And at the last moment, he had something which came up, which was, prompting him to say that I won't be able to join, and there was some professional and domestic pressure. But I put my hood down, and he thankfully, thank you so very much, Prem, that you came. I mean, you could make it yourself. And at the risk of taking the wrath of his better half, yes. Anyway, so thank you so very much, Prem. Also, Dhananjay and Nalin, who have been so much close and guiding us and supporting all the good things that we have started to move on. Mr. Agnivesh, thank you very much for coming. This is your first visit, but won't be there will be more visits. We are very sure. We are talking about your passion for teaching and the fact that you would like to come as a visiting professor. That will be a wonderful, wonderful opportunity for us, and we look forward to that. I also take this opportunity of welcoming the industry partners who have joined on online. This is being streamed online. I would also like to thank SILB and Mrs. Saroj Khosla, which is our partner institution in this journey. Apart from Shulini, SILB is another institute, the second institute for in this Shulini NHRDN journey. Dr. Khosla sir, for his vision and blessings and so much of inspiration that we get. We will be all there tomorrow to be with you on your birthday, sir. Vice Chancellor Atul Khosla, for his passion to excel in everything that we do. That is unique. Atul, thank you very much for having that drive and tenacity. That excellence is something that we must build in whatever we do. And this is one of those examples of what we are doing right now. Munish and his team at Faculty of Business Management for taking a leading part in organizing this conclave. Brigadier Mehta and Bhaskar Goel for the operations team for perfect arrangements that we have been able to do in logistics and infrastructure. Mahesh and his IT team for supporting this. We are streaming it live. Nishta and the communication team of Chaitanya and Saket, who have been here for the last 3-4 days for supporting all this great activities that we have planned. Then Vipin Pabbi and Nisha for the media support, our own HR team, Sanjeev and Sia and everyone else for being there and organizing every small little detail. Minakshi and Dr. Kesri, solid support, solid cooperation, coordination. Thank you very much. All our colleagues sitting here. And our prized possession are students. Thank you very much. You are truly why we are here. Why we are all here is because of you. And you are our prized possession, as I said. Thank you very much for your patience. And last but not the least, Poonam Nanda, I forgot about her, for stepping in and taking charge every time the situation demands. Thank you very much, Poonam.
Thank you, everyone. Actually, I was the last minute anchor here because Pooja was supposed to be here, but unfortunately she got sick. So as he said, I stepped in. Anyways, thank you, everybody. And I'd like to tell all the students that I've got your lunch timings extended up to 3 o'clock. So you're not going to starve. Please just wait for a moment for the guests to leave and then everybody can leave. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good day.